Welcome back to Project Management 101. So in this lesson, we're going to focus on project management software. And the reason why I want to focus on this is because this is probably one of the most common concerns that I get when I talk to individuals who are trying to pursue project management careers. So many people who are new to this career or who are just trying to get certified, they start to do research and realize that there are project management softwares out there that they may need to know. And so they quickly become overwhelmed because they feel like they need to master and learn all of the different softwares, which is not true. So to help alleviate some of those concerns, I'm here to tell you that you do not need to master all of the project management softwares. Instead, successful project managers focus on learning key skills that they can then adapt to any project management software that their company uses. All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to provide an overview of some of the most common project management softwares that are used for planning, tracking, and managing projects. And then I'm going to go over some of the key skills that make project managers highly effective regardless of what project management softwares their company uses. All right, so let's just start with talking about why project management softwares are so important. We use project management software to add structure to our projects, right? So that we can clearly define what are the outstanding tasks, what is the timeline for the project, also clearly outline the responsibilities. We also utilize project management software to try to reduce a lot of the manual tracking, right? To try to get away from just writing everything down on papers, and then now you have so much paper, right, about your project. You're trying to find different things. Using project management software just makes it so much easier. Also, the great thing about project management software is that it helps you to also keep key stakeholders informed, and it helps you to communicate, anything important around the project. And then also, if your project happens to grow, or if you manage varying sizes of projects, right? Small to extremely large projects. Project management software allows you to manage any type of project, right? And it doesn't matter how big it gets because the software can then adapt to whatever size your project is. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the most commonly used project management softwares and the tools that can be created by these different softwares. And then let's also just take a look at some of the key functions that you should know with each software. All right, so first let's start with Kanban boards. Now, if you've heard this pronounced as Kanban, just know that whoever said it incorrectly, okay? So Kanban is actually a Japanese term. So Kanban boards are essentially visual task management tools that are used to easily categorize different tasks that are related to a particular project. So this tool is essentially used to track work in progress and also manage tasks more efficiently. So you'll see Kanban boards, typically used in project management software like Jira or even Trello. So if you want to practice creating Kanban boards, right, and let's say you either use Jira or you can even use Trello, which I do believe Trello has a free version where you can go in and just get some practice, but you can just start by getting practice setting up a Kanban board with the different columns, right? So you can have a to-do column, you can have a in progress column, right? You can have a completed column. And then also you can get practice just assigning tasks or creating deadlines for each task. And then another feature that you can also use is adding labels to organize your different tasks. So for example, a marketing team may use Trello, right, to track one of their key projects. Let's say that this marketing team, has set up their own Kanban board, right? And so, for example, the columns that they may be using for this particular project may be idea, drafting, reviewing, and then published. So it really just depends on the project and how they want to kind of define those different phases that are going to be involved in those projects. So when it comes to Kanban boards, just know that it's very common that you'll probably see these either with agile projects, any projects that are being managed with agile methodologies, or you may just see them either in, marketing or just used for general task tracking. All right, so now let's talk about Gantt charts and just project scheduling. A Gantt chart is essentially a visual tool that's used to create a project timeline. So a Gantt chart can also be considered more of an advanced tool just because there are more functions and things that you need to know to make this more effective and useful for your projects. So if you're managing more of a complex project, right, that has a lot more pieces pieces to it, different phases with a lot of different tasks that are assigned to each phase, but then there's also key deadlines involved as well, then yes, you probably want to use a Gantt chart so that you can then map out your entire project schedule. And so when it comes to creating Gantt charts, typically you'll see people either using two things, either Microsoft Project or Google Smartsheet. Some of the key skills that you need to learn when it comes to Gantt charts is one, just start by learning how to create a project timeline with milestones. And then the next thing you need to do is learn how to link task dependencies. And so if you're not familiar with what a task dependency is, this would essentially be saying that, okay, so on this Gantt chart, I need to link task A to task B because task A has to finish before task B can start. And you can show that visually on your Gantt chart. And then last but not least, in order to really be effective when it comes to creating these Gantt charts, is knowing how to incorporate real-time updates into your Gantt chart. And so Microsoft Project and Google Smartsheet are two very common project management softwares. So you'll probably see them used across various industries. Okay, so now moving on to task and workflow management. So let's say you're given a project, right? And you need to clearly define the task of that project, but not only the task, you need to also assign people to be responsible for completing those tasks. So what you can do is use user-friendly softwares that will allow you to track team workloads. So this would be softwares like Asana or even Monday.com. So if you're using either one of these softwares, what I recommend is learning how to set up project workflows. Another thing you can learn is also how to automate task assignments and notifications. And then of course, last but not least is just knowing how to track project progress and also just tracking the workload of your team. Now, when it comes to these two softwares, they're most commonly used just for business operations, or they may be used for marketing campaigns or even product launches. It really just depends on the company and their needs. And then the last one that I'm going to cover is collaboration and communication tools. So this would essentially be tools like Microsoft Teams or even Slack. So the great thing about these different communication tools is they're essentially designed to help you to stay aligned with your team members, right? To allow that more frequent or, on-demand communication with your teams without having to send numerous emails. If you're going to be using tools like Microsoft Teams or Slack, here's what you should probably learn or at least become familiar with. So first, learn how to set up project-specific channels. So this is essentially a channel of communication that you can set up with whichever individuals you assign to this channel. And this will allow you to maintain collaboration and communication with those individuals for that specific project. And then also, depending on your company, if you use other tools outside of these collaboration or communication tools, you can integrate those different softwares, right, with Teams or with Slack. It's just knowing how to do those integrations. Now, this is not something that you have to learn. This would be more of a bonus. Let's say you're a part of some type of remote software team. This team would essentially use Slack to maybe track their daily stand-ups, or maybe track any issues that are being reported about bugs, or they may use their Slack just to track general updates. And so I think either in your current experience or as you get into project management, you'll see that various companies use their own softwares. Some may use Teams, some may use Slack. It really just depends on the company. All right, so now that we've covered common tools and softwares, let's start talking about the key skills that project managers should have when using these platforms. All right, so first and foremost is task and timeline management. You should be able to break down work into actionable tasks and then be able to assign them to individuals and then also set deadlines. And then the second one is resource allocation. So you may not necessarily have the complete authority to assign resources. However, as a project manager, you should or you may have a say in the resources that are needed for those projects or for whichever projects you are being tasked with. So understand how to distribute work across team members effectively. And then a third skill is risk identification and mitigation. Be able to spot potential delays or roadblocks early. And then fourth is stakeholder communication. And this is probably one of the most important skills that you should have. So I want you to be able to keep leadership and team members informed about important status updates or even project reports. Last but not least, I want you to have a skill of adaptability in being able to adjust to either new tools or even business processes, because every company does business differently. As a project manager, you have to have the ability to quickly learn and adapt to new softwares because they all essentially have the same key functions. There may be different ways to execute those functions, but for you as a project manager, you know what to do with the tools. It's just learning how to do it based on the tool. So I want you to be able to adapt and quickly learn and shift when needed, because that's going to be very important in project management. It is very important to understand how to use the project management softwares that are commonly used in your target industry or in your current industry, because this will essentially help to increase your job market competitiveness, and it will also help to prepare you for real world project management work. So essentially, project management software is designed to make your job easier, but the key to success is understanding how to apply the right skills within these tools. All right, so here's your homework assignment for this lesson. I want you to research your target industry if you're not already in project management, and I want you to identify which project management softwares are commonly used in that industry. Now, if you're already in project management, then share and let me know what are those common project management softwares that you use. Now, if you're not in project management, then I want you to do research by either looking up various job descriptions or just doing a quick Google search. But I want you to see in those descriptions what are the project management softwares that are listed that they want their ideal candidate to know how to use. So this is when you'll see things like Microsoft Project, you may see Jira, right? So really look and analyze not just one job description, but look at least 5, right? Because this will show you across different companies what softwares they use. All right, so if you found this lesson helpful, make sure that you like this video and also subscribe so that you don't miss the next lesson that's coming out. And as always, I will see you guys in the next lesson.